Yes.
With the bags. I'm going to ask who you know. Okay. Tired.
Oh, so now piano makes sense.
Yeah.
Hello, ladies.
Hi.
We've literally just met a few minutes ago, but due to the rain, we've ended up being stuck in a corner for about an hour and a half, and we've gotten to know each other a little bit better.
Yes.
We're here courtesy of Catherine, fashionable stepmom, and her studio, IR Studio. And we're here to talk about love and how our ideas around love, romantic and non-romantic connections have evolved with age. I'm seeing us represented, different ages represented on this, I don't want to say couch, but in this space. Before we begin, I want us to do a quick round of introductions, and I will start with the beautiful lady on my right.
Thanks. Hi. So my name is Kavudha Mwanzia. I hyphenate Asio. And I do wear many things, but I'm an entertainer and a event consultant. That's what I do, my 9 to 5. Yeah, that's who I am.
So we call you today Kavudha.
Kavudha.
Okay.
Yes, that works. So Kavu.
Or Kavu.
Which is easier. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Esther Kazungu. I am a content creator, digital activist, and actor, and mother. Yeah.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Hey girls,
Hi.
I'm Coach Roseanne Kamal. I'm a mom of 2 girls. I've been married for 23 years. My work is to help busy women lose weight without dieting. And I'm very passionate about Africa, the narrative that Africa is given. I am also, I would say, an activist because I want to see our world live better. And I'm so excited to talk more about love and what it's done for us, for me, all these many years.
Yes. On this beautiful month of love.
On this beautiful month of love, for sure.
All right.
Yes.
My name is Julia, but you can call me Jules. I am a content creator. For today's purpose, I'll just say I'm a content creator. I do wear many other hats, but mostly known for my podcasts and other productions around the same space. All right. So we have been given a few questions, and I think how I want us to do this is that each of us will read out one question each, and we can start with you, Kazungu. You can start with the first one, and then we're free to discuss at liberty, of course, as we give time to the next person to finish what they're saying.
Okay. So the first question here is, at your current age, how do you define love and what influences shaped this definition?
I think even before we begin, are you guys comfortable sharing your ages? Yeah. Because when it says at your current age, I think it's such a good question. I think it's good to give context
Correct.
of that age.
Right.
Yeah. Are you comfortable
so.
sharing
Yeah,
your
why
age
not?
to the internet?
I mean, you can find it if you look hard enough.
Yeah.
If you look hard enough, you can find it. So
Yeah.
I think it's fine. So I'm 49. I just turned 49.
I'm 36.
I'm 50.
I am 31, turning 32 in June.
Okay. So these are 2 millennials. Are you guys millennials?
Gen X.
Gen X.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's my mom and dad's generation.
Essentially, I could be your mother, Jules.
You could be. You're not that far. I mean, 36 and 50 is not too far. What's
That's 16 years.
16 years.
Yeah.
I've dated someone who was 13 years my senior.
Yeah, girl. Okay.
Okay, so we have 2 millennials, 2 Gen X's.
Right.
And at your current age, how do you define love and what influences have shaped this definition?
I can go.
Yeah.
I could go. What's influenced? Let me start with what's influenced. I think what's influenced me has been the life that I've lived. So my family, how I grew up, and what I saw love given to me by my parents, the way we lived with my sisters. So in my nuclear family, right? That's number one. In our family, culturally, it was very important for us to, my parents came from a polygamous family. So we had a lot of grandparents, aunties, uncles, cousins. So that for me shaped what love is, because love for me is not just about nuclear family, but community. So in that extension. And then what we've been taught, okay, now you're growing up, you're a girl, you're going to get married, how does that actually look like? So the other part of love is, okay, who are you going to marry? And for me, one of the biggest traits I looked for in someone I was going to marry was going to be a good person. You know how people have lists of who they're going to marry? Mine was very simple. I want a good person, but I did have one that is, what you want to call it? Earthly, okay? I wanted someone taller than me. And how my definition of taller than me, I wanted to wear a 6-inch heel and they still be taller than me. And I got a tall dude. And in fact, my daughter, when she was younger, because my girls are quite tall, actually, I'm the shortest in our family. When she was much younger, because she was so tall, she used to say, you know, kids make fun of me. And I'd always told them the story, I wanted a tall guy. And so they said, Mommy, I think that was one of the worst things because now I'm tall and we are tall, blah, blah. But now they love their height. But what's influenced me has been my parents. They've influenced what love is, how I've seen love. So how do I define it? I define it based on culture, based on my parents, and obviously what I've been taught and what I see, which is the relationship that my husband and I have, and the relationship with my kids, and the relationship with our community, the relationship with work, because all that is love. Everything that we do is from a place of love.
Yeah. I like that you said culture. I would have never have thought culture to contribute to how I define love. Especially because when I read this question, I was looking at it as how do you define romantic love?
Look at that. Interesting.
Yeah. What about you, Kavuza? Is there something that's unique to how you define love at this age? Because I think age there's something specific with that. There's an intention with that, using that in the question.
I like what Roseanne said about love for family. Because I think we never thought that we loved our family. They were just our family. They're my family. Do you love them? I mean, for us, I think for a long time, love was romantic. So I like that boy. So I loved him. It never was, I love my mom, but it doesn't count. You're supposed to love your mom anyway. I think as you grow older, you realize that love is it's not a feeling. It's not that butterflies in the stomach. It's not that he called me, my heart starts beating. It's about the feeling that I have for people that are influential in my life. And I think I want to add also to the people that you love are your friends, your both male and female. Like there's that, I don't know, there's that word, there are the different types of love, but that love between people who are your friends. There's a word. There's agape, the love you have for God. There's the love, romantic love that you have for somebody else. But that love for friends, eros. Yeah, there's that eros, which is romantic love. We should have done our homework. And then there's that love for somebody who is your friend. That they're there for you. They're almost like your family. You love them. My girlfriends, who we have a community with, you love them. I think that's the thing that I've grown to understand with age, that it is there.
Yeah. What about you?
So for me, what influences my definition is, of course, things that have happened in life, like till this point. I feel like I was very shallow when I was young. I was quite shallow because I never really put thought into, cultivating that relationship with my friends. And even when it comes to thinking about it romantic-wise, it was just, the things on paper, okay, handsome, like such shallow. Yeah. They have to buy me flowers. They have to, like things that are not really serious. Like we're not talking about, okay, so are we going to have like the serious conversations? How are they going to treat me? How am I going to treat them? What kind of person are they? You are in front. Because like to think of when I was young, it was just very shallow. But now as you grow, you think about, I want someone who treats people with dignity, which thank God I got someone who treats people with dignity. Everyone, regardless of their profession, regardless of whether they can give something back to them. So that, like all that has really, made me look at love in a different light at this age. Things that I didn't really focus on when I was younger, and things that I was not aware of before I started therapy, I am aware of now. And so I look back at that and I'm like, who am I as a person and what do I consider as love to me?
Yeah. I think mine is also a bit similar to yours. I feel like my idea of love has literally been shifting from the time I watched my first rom-com and I was like, that's it.
That's what I'm looking for. Listen.
The orchestra.
Of course. Orchestra. And the complete and total intoxication with one human being and having them be your end all and be all and your reason, you know? That to me
Which rom-com is this that you watched?
many.
Oh,
It
okay.
wasn't one. It wasn't one.
Girl.
And it's pre-Netflix.
Hey,
And it's
it's
pre-Netflix. This is pre-Netflix. This is going to the shop and ordering a tip for 50 bob. Renting a tip for 50 bob.
yes.
And you have 100 bob, so you're like, okay. You know, and I was
Priorities
always a
too.
sucker for a good romantic movie or
yeah.
romantic film. I drew all of my references of love from there. Well, a little bit from mom and dad. Well, obviously, mom and dad, because your brain 0 to 7. But, you know, for me, I was like, mine's going to be different. And we're going to just like walk away and drift into the sunset. Everything's going to be fine. And then you start dating. You're like,
Excuse me.
first of all, the one you like will never like you. And the one you end up with is supposed to expose all your trauma and you're supposed to deal with it. Like, it's just so much has changed for me when it comes to love. And now at 36, when I look at that question, the way I'm compelled to answer it is that love is literally all those things. It's the orchestra, it's the friends, it's the culture, it's the family. It's literally looking around your house and noticing everything has a love to it, essence of love. You look at that duvet and you're like, I bought this with mom. She bought me my first duvet for my first house.
Experiences.
You understand? Or I look at an interaction, or I look at a plant and I remember that's the plant I bought on this day because I was taking myself for my first ever artist date. And there's love in that. So it's like so love is not either or. It's literally everything on the positive side of the feeling emotion spectrum.
Correct.
That's how I look at love.
Yeah.
And now I try to lean into that. And this is literally, this is what I'm telling you, like that it's everywhere. I've known it in a theoretical sense, but I've only started to feel it in real life in the past maybe 3 weeks because of a book I read. And you know how just synchronicities in life happen? And you're like, oh my gosh, what am I looking for? First of all, it's everywhere. Second of all, that kind of love I'm looking for can only be truly felt and experienced long term if it's internal.
With
I
you.
know
With you.
it's so stereotypical for me to say this. Like, yeah, self-love is the best kind of love, but imagine it's so boring.
But it's so true. But it's true. That's the truth.
I have a podcast called So This Is Love. And people think it's just about the stories of love. No. The reason I call it that is to actually get to the conclusion that so this is love. Not what you think is love. This is actually what love is. So that's what love means to me nowadays. So there are different times in my life where I feel like I want a bit of romantic love, or I want a bit of this. Where I feel like there's a deficiency, I try and fill that with what is right in front of me, because I really feel like if there's a need for something, surely God has provided it for me somewhere here. I'm just maybe not attuned to it. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm a deep babe when it comes to this thing.
No, I love it. And I have a question. See how, and I think somehow we're going to find the answers as we move on. Remember how you said, and I think this maybe the cracks and why we need to really discuss this. Rom-com. The movies that we see and what's pushed, showing us that that's what love is, or making us believe, or we choose to believe, because no one makes us to do anything unless we allow them. Would you therefore then say, we are being influenced by something that's not either us, that's not real, and has therefore caused all the issues within our relationships because of what we see out there as the ideal or the definition of love?
I'm happy to jump on that.
100%.
150%.
Yeah.
100%.
I think it does, and I think it does cause a problem, because if you really think about it, when you're at a moment of crisis in your relationship, what are those images in your mind that pop up when you say this is how it should be? He should be replying.
Yes.
He should be texting. He should be paying for the bill. He should be. What is that? What's informing you? Usually,
What's informing you?
yeah, what's informing you? Yeah. So I think Phil is very powerful. Even this conversation we're having that's going to be published is very powerful. I don't know if I let myself be influenced, but I was a little girl and I was watching this stuff, and that's what I thought our generation, like, I remember just thinking, oh, in our generation, there'll be nothing like gender-based violence. There'll be nothing, because we're so woke, because we've seen real love on TV. So shock on me as an adult, I'm like, bruh, the boys I grew up with in the estate are beating up their girlfriends, it was such a shock for me when I got to uni and I'm seeing some of my friends in terrible relationships, and I can't believe it's a guy I know.
Mm.
You know.
Mm.
So yes, I think TV is powerful, impacted and influenced me for sure. But I think it can also influence.
Oh, it's
the other way.
for
Yeah,
sure.
but I think it's
for
also
sure.
because we didn't talk about, at least for my generation, we didn't talk about love.
Mm.
And we left love, we left ourselves to be educated. We were left to be educated by the TV, the Mills and Booms.
Yes.
I don't know if you guys
Mills and,
remember Mills and
we did
Booms.
Mills and Booms. I did those. Yes.
You wouldn't understand.
Yeah,
So
I
you
don't
have no
understand.
context.
Talking about you guys.
Smile and wave.
But it was the novels. There were these novels they used to sell called Mills and Booms, and they were romantic novels. And I think the equivalent of the telenovelas because they were everywhere, and they had these stories of love, and used to read them under the covers. But that was where we saw love, because for us, love between like our parents were working. We're talking about how our parents, for them, love was, I married you, now we're together, we have these kids, we continue, sawa, bas. So we never saw, those who are lucky had parents who had that love thing going on, but we were getting our influence then from the books. And so then because of that, people don't talk. People are not truthful. A girl said to me the other day, said, I wish people talked more about and maybe talk about romantic love, but what marriage really is like. Because they hide, we don't say, are there people telling the truth about what love really is?
Because then otherwise your reference is
correct.
The books.
It's the books,
and the
which is
TV.
fantasy.
Yeah, which is fantasy.
And it's all fun. It's some idea.
Somebody else's idea, fantasy of what they want love to be. And in their own life, it's the literal opposite.
It's correct. Because it's a fantasy. So they are escaping. For me, lucky for us, I said I wanted a marriage like my parents, because my dad was a little woke, actually a lot woke. My dad was a romantic, and he would hold my mom. I mean, he would hug, he would kiss. He did those things. So for us growing up, that didn't seem odd. Even he talked to us about sex. Yes, he did. Okay. He said, I have 5 girls. I'm a man. He's still with us.
Bless him. We have to meet him.
We should meet him. He's the coolest dad ever. He says, I have 5 girls. I'm a man. I know how men think. And so he would, he told us everything. So we knew from even growing up. Let me give you a quick story. So one day we were driving down, I can even tell you exactly where we're from, Thika. So I grew up in Thika. So we're driving down Thika, me and my little sister in the car. And as we're driving, I remember I asked Dad, so I think I must have been standard something. So for a woman to get pregnant, must they sleep with a man every day to get pregnant? And my dad said, nope, it only takes one time. And my sister and I were like, one time? Only? He's like, yeah, we could not fathom.
Mind blown.
And from that moment, we're like, we're never going to sleep with men. Because for them, that generation, the biggest thing was you can't be pregnant.
Yes.
You cannot be pregnant. So that was hammered down. So those are the kind of conversations that we grew up with. Like my dad he's only talked to us about our periods. It wasn't unusual for us.
Wow.
So it was very normal. And even growing up, I was like, I need a guy like my dad.
That's beautiful.
Who's going to be, you know? So that's how, at least for us, even when we talk about love, I wanted to have a relationship like I saw in my parents. Because it was a powerful, it was a good relationship, like a good model for us, yeah.
All right, then take us to the second question, will you?
Yes, I will. Can you describe a pivotal life experience that impacted your understanding of love, either positively or negatively? You have just answered. I didn't even realize, but that was positive.
Yeah, for you, your dad. Anyone have something come up for them? Because I'm ready.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
You're waiting. Anyway, for me, I think it's motherhood. Because, you come into a new person and I feel like for me, I just wanted to be understood. Like it's me, because I did the 90% of the work. So yeah, I felt like I want to be considered every single minute. I just want you to consider me. Every single minute, you should remember that I labored. I carried this child for 9 months, please. I went through a lot. And so for me, that's really, it was a redefinition of love. Because before it was just, okay, we'll hang out always. We'll go for dates. We'll go for, all those cute things that love was before, but now it was, I need us to be a team. I really need us to be a team. I know it can't be 50-50, but I really, really like all the help I can get.
Yes.
I need that. And that is what what was the question again? That impacted, really impacted my understanding of love. That's it's a lot. It's a lot to unpack. But yeah.
Yeah, for me, I think, I don't know if there's a moment. Maybe they're more like moments. But I think like love is a life journey. I think love changes in its format. And we'll talk about the longer you've been married. So I've been married 16 years. And love has changed from the moment we met to where we are today. And so I think the moments where, the place for me, I think that was sort of life-changing, where I realized that he wasn't going to complete me to make me, like him completing me. No, he completes me. Such a big line. He completes me. And you complete me. And we're not moving.
That's a movie, right.
What's his name? The British actor.
I can see him.
Yeah, he was
Hugh Grant.
He was Hugh Grant. And what's her name? Was it Renée Zellweger in that film? No. It was
Hugh Grant, really?
It wasn't Hugh Grant. It was the guy who was jumping on the couch because he was in love.
Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise.
And
Rose from Titanic.
No. No. In real life or in
What's
the
her real
movie?
name? What's her real name? The Titanic lady.
I can see her.
Yes, and he was like, you complete
me, right?
And he was like a sports
Correct. Journalist.
Sports journalist.
Yeah. So I mean, I think for
It
me,
was Tom Cruise and Renée Zellweger.
Renée Zellweger,
Yeah,
I
right.
think it was Renée Zellweger.
Yeah. So for me, when I realized that he wasn't here to complete me, that if I wasn't complete, that really love couldn't be real. And it was like an aha moment, but that realization for like, Kavudha, fix your issues.
Right.
And he's not going to fix them for you.
Right.
And for me, that understanding of that moment for me changed how I expressed love and allowed love into my life with not just him, but with even my community. It's like, wow, it's not about that. And everybody else has their issues and you're expecting them to love you and fix your issues. No, fix you. You fix you. And for me, that was the moment that then I realized, now I can see what love is.
Yeah.
I can understand what love is. Yeah.
So for me, contrary to you, where you had one person and then you had the realization,
Yes.
I had a bunch of unhealthy relationships in my like 20s to like my early 30s, 30 there. And I was, I couldn't figure out why it felt like I was choosing the same guy. But then I'm like, but he's not the same guy because he's nicer, and this time he has a job, and this time he called me back after the first night.
Hello, listen.
And, so I'm like, I thought I'm getting better at this, but their essence was pretty much the same. And then finally, I get into a healthy relationship, the healthiest relationship I've ever been in, the happiest I've ever been in. All my emotional needs are met for the first time in my life. I'm like, whoa, I'm getting this in my 30s. Some of you guys had it in your 20s. Good for you, but I'm like, whoa. And then it just hit me. Because you see, in those other relationships, I would date a lot of people who would not like to talk about stuff. Typical avoidance. I'm the one who's always sending them the articles about personal development and how to communicate in relationships and how to have good, healthy conflict resolution. And then I met this person who's already put together. And suddenly, all my demons started coming out. Because before, they were the ones who were not doing their work to make the relationship work. I was the good guy. But now I'm with the goodest guy. And then it's like, oh my gosh. I got stuff started coming out. 1, 2, after I was like, okay, girl, there's a reason you are in that space. Now you can see why. Or in those relationships. Now you can see why. And all I ever wanted, I just want a healthy love. I want to know what it feels like to be happy genuinely, like day in, day out for over a year. I want to clock a year. We clock the first year, clock the second year. And somewhere in that time frame, it hit me the same way it hit you, like, oh my gosh, like love is not enough. At the end of the day, I still have to fix my shit. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, and my issues really rose to the surface. But I don't think they would have come out in the other spaces because it was not a safe space for me. And here I was with somebody who loved me for who I am. And now who I am is like, so now we need to do some work. So that for me was a pivotal moment, realizing that love is not enough. I knew it. I knew love was not enough, but I thought love enough was enough to fix that stuff, but it's not. At the end of the day, you're the one who has to slay your own demons. And that for me was a huge one.
I'm curious. I'm sorry. And you don't have to share, but I feel like I want to know the end of this story. So after 2 years, so what happens? You notice you have to work on all this. Okay.
I sabotaged the relationship, but I didn't know that I was doing that. And it was one of the biggest mistakes of my life because I'm like, this is literally what I prayed for my whole life. Well, my whole romantic dating life. And it came, and then about two plus years in, I did something so dumb. And I'm like, I would never thought I would be this person. And again, I had to look at myself and be like, oh my God, what the hell is this? So that's what happened. Yeah.
But now you know.
Lifing is so weird.
But now you
like
know.
you people who are just married for 16 years, married for 23.
I will say, just as a caveat, love marriage, milk about marriage, but marriage is work.
Yeah.
Love is work.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's work. It's work. You have to put the work in.
Yeah.
And some days you have a good day in the office.
Yeah.
And some days you have a really bad one. A really bad one. So it's work.
Yeah.
So it's not, I've worked 16 years, Roseanne's worked 23 years.
Yeah. Do you ever get bored in your marriages? Like, this is so stale.
No.
No, because you gotta work it. You gotta work it.
So how do you know you have to work? Is there a point that gets you're like, we're losing touch with each other, we're getting disconnected? That's what I mean.
Yes. Oh yeah, that happens, and that can happen. And so you have to be communication number one. I know we always say communication, but for real, you've got to communicate. And then a little bit earlier, we were talking about that and asking, okay, how do we communicate when things are hard? So we talked about, I was sharing with you a little bit earlier, how we always ask, okay, in a good space to discuss when you're having a difficult issue, and or how important is this issue to you? How strongly do you feel? But on the inverse, when we feel like we are disconnected, that is something, because we do dates, we do regular dates. That's like really, really important. Last year, actually 2023 was a really hard year for us in our marriage, 2023. And what we did at the end of that year, because one of the things we do at the beginning of every year is we come together as a family, we talk about what do we want for the year. And so when Kamau and I came together, we said, okay, this year has been really hard on our marriage. What are we willing to do? What are we going to do? So one of those things was we were feeling disconnected. So we needed to figure out what was the cause of that disconnection. We were able to identify, and then what are the things we needed to do to connect back. And for us, dating has always been one of those things where we make it together. And one of the things that we actually did a 30-day dating challenge. Every day for 30 days straight, we're going to go out. It's not about spending money, but we're just going to go out 1 hour, sit down and talk. That was the goal. So we did that every day. We would go actually, and then this was the other fun thing. We're like, let's make it fun. Let's look for somewhere we have never been in Nairobi, close by. We literally found so many nice, cute spots in Nairobi that we'd never been to. And we said, no matter how busy we get, that's a commitment. And I remember this day we were both so tired. Do you know we left the house at 11:30? Because we made the commitment to go out on a date.
11:30 p.m.
And we went to somewhere in Westlands. It was like, we don't drink. We're not drinkers. It was this dingy place. So we sat over there, but actually, it was anything. We asked for dawa.
Yeah.
In fact, the woman was looking at like, do you realize what time it is and what you're asking for? I was like, listen, dawa is a thing in Kenya. Okay, find us dawa. And she's like, we don't have. But those are some of the things that we did. So 2023 was hard, but we were very intentional, and we decided what are the things to do. So dating is very important, and we keep at it. And something we've done that for years. But every so often, when you find you get busy, we find we're not doing it. But we have to get back to, what do you want in your marriage? That's the question we've always asked ourselves. We're like, we want to be happy. For us, it's simple. We want to be happy. Like it's just, please. No one is upset. Let's just be happy. And then we reverse engineer. What does happiness look like for you? What does happiness look like for you? By the way, and then we write those things down. Once we write it down, for him, it's like, I want you to respect me. So I have to watch my tone, because sometimes I come off very, so I'm very intentional even as I'm talking. In fact, when we are having, we call them intense fellowships.
Not an argument.
Intense fellowships. So when we're having intense fellowships, I am very, because that's something he has told me over and over. I have to,
Watch your tone.
literally, I have to catch myself and then say what I need to say.
Yeah.
And even then sometimes like,
I think as a strong woman, that's one thing you have to really work on.
Yeah.
Because for me, my issue is like, I want to let go of the need to be right.
Mm.
Like just before we came here, I was in a little tiff
Mm-hmm.
with my person about Nike and New Balance. And I'm like, no, New Balance is not Nike. New Balance is New Balance.
Mm-hmm.
There's a way I said it.
Right.
And they got so like, okay. And I'm like, so now you mad because I said this. And then I even went online and I was just like, wait, I started this. It was me because I said New Balance is New Balance. Nike, it's my tone. Yeah. And that's what I just need to, I need to manage that.
We need to manage it.
Okay. What about you, Roseanne? You said, who hasn't answered this question about?
No, I think everybody has.
Everyone has.
Everybody has.
It's you.
It's
you.
It's you.
I did. I talked about my pivotal moment was the
Oh, that is true. That is true.
I
That
am
is
the
true.
drama.
You are the drama.
Yeah. I think self-awareness is very important
Huge.
if you want to have a healthy long-term relationship that is connected. I think that people
truth.
Yes.
Truth. Meaning say the truth. The hard truth. Say it. And it's hard. And sometimes you have to practice a mirror. Like I have that moment where I'm like, I'm gonna need to say the hard truth. So let me practice it. This is how you made me feel. It's a very hard conversation because sometimes it's not done out of malice.
Yes.
But you made me feel
A certain way.
because you can't quantify feeling. It's not wrong or right. It's feeling. So being able to say, this is how you made me feel.
I think also of importance is that a space like that exists in the relationship.
Yes.
That somebody can speak their truth. Because there are some spaces where if you speak your truth, it's like, so now that means, you know what I mean? It's just not a safe space for you.
I agree. Then you're in the wrong place.
Then you're in the wrong place. Yeah.
And can I quickly add to that? And so one of the things I'll say, especially when you're getting new relationships and they're coming up, please don't be smitten by the love and whatnot, because everybody has, those flags are usually there from the very beginning. And a lot of women, because we are such cultured people, we gotta, we have, and peacemakers, and we've been also, our culture has taught us to sort of acquiesce to everyone else and take care of everyone else's needs. But it's to really be aware and notice, get that romantic, like get it out of the way so that you're seeing clearly. Because what happens is if we allow, because all even the other person is doing right now is they're pushing their boundaries. They want to see how much is she willing to take. And if you begin to take it from the beginning, even when you get into that marriage, it actually gets worse and worse and worse. So not as women, any relationship, it's really important to really go in with a clear mind of how the communication is happening, how they are talking to you, so that when those tough conversations come, you want to be able to see how are they handling those from the get-go before they become really big. So we have to try that self-awareness, knowing yourself, so that you can see if I am able to, can I be able to speak up? When someone does something wrong to me, can I be able to speak up? And if you can't, truly just try, even if it's one small thing, and you want to see how they respond. Because if you do not respond or do not speak up, I promise you it actually gets worse and worse and worse. Yeah.
The red flag theory.
The red flag. Oh, there's a theory. Oh,
just the red flags are red flags.
Yes.
They are.
They are.
They're not yellow.
Not yellow.
No. It's red. It's red.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's red.
Yeah.
Whew. All right. How has your view on romantic love changed as you've aged, and what do you attribute those changes to?
We haven't answered that one.
I think we've touched on it a little bit. But I think I could say a little bit more on this. For me, obviously, at the beginning of not my life, but like dating, I just wanted romance. I thought the other stuff would fall into place, and I'm just being honest. This is me in my late teens, early 20s, my first relationship, my first sexual relationship. I just wanted the romance, the butterflies, and then the other stuff will fall into place because like we love each other. And now, as a woman in her 30s, like, you need to come with your emotional house in order, for me, personally, because I'm no longer Bob the Builder. No. In a former life. It's really important to me anyway, because it just takes a lot of fatigue out of the relationship. Provision is a big one for me. Again, I was Bob the Builder. So you need anything, I got it. It's okay. Like, we're both creative. We'll figure it out. But I'm just like, no, please just come together kindly. I understand money comes and goes, but I need to know that you know how to make it come back.
Okay.
Because I cannot carry the weight of the financial burden in the relationship. And I'm still here nurturing and taking care of your children. So provision is big for me. Feeling safe, and somebody who I can just have a bloody good laugh with. It's so important for me to have, like, I want us to be we know what we're laughing about, but nobody knows. You know, like, we have our own thing. Humor is a big part for me. And I don't know, what about you, Esther? I feel like your relationship is one of the sweetest, funniest, cuddliest. I don't know, but maybe I'm overhyping it. Give us a real raw deal.
Anyway, so for me, at first I thought, for me, I wanted, you're saying you wanted like the romance, even me, but now I had this list here. We need to look good together. We need to be the couple goals. We need to, all those things. And then as I grew, I realized this will not sustain us. Yeah, this will not sustain the relationship. It's work. It's a lot of work. Especially like when you get to that point where you're asking, you guys don't get bored? Now that's when the real work actually begins. And then just, I don't know if people like find it difficult to just come to the realization that you need therapy individually and also maybe together. So for me, now that's what it is for now. I want us to both be on the same page, like we want to work on ourselves. I think kugrow tu ndio life inakuonyesha, honestly. Like as you grow, you realize the things I wanted were not sustainable. So as you go through life with your person, because not every love story is the same, you realize now what you guys need. Because nikisema, I want us to be like Julia and the babe, like exactly the same. It can't be the same. So my view has changed in that sense only. Like, life ain't hard, honestly. The marriage is not... I honestly wonder, like, how you guys... But it's okay. I will nitafika. Because
You're 3 years
I feel like I've started... Now I've started... Nimefika hapo sasa kwa kazi. And I'm just like, hey, people go on. Because I've had like the big arguments. I was asking Kavu before we now actually got in here, talking about the compromise. And I'm like, so how do you differentiate between, okay, this is compromise and this is now you just being stupid. You're staying there for like, not like this person is not respecting you. This person is crossing boundaries over and over again. And you are not paying attention to that. You're just thinking, I need to give them grace till when. Yeah, so it's tough. It's tough.
Balancing.
Yeah, balancing. It's
Any
just
relationship advice? Roseanne, you're the psychologist here.
Well,
what's the marker that this is beyond compromise? Is it how it makes you feel? Is it...
Have you tried to solve it? That's number one. How often have you guys tried? You know what? There's something that she said which caught my attention. It's this person keeps crossing your boundaries, which means she may have told this person over and over and over. Well, there's a sense of, it seems like they're getting some form of pleasure out of either making you small, either agitating you, aggravating you, and that's on them. And so how he makes you feel, and feeling, there's many ways of feeling, right? Do you feel safe with him? Do you feel that is there physical, emotional abuse? Because there's all these different forms of abuse. You decide how that makes you feel. If you both go for therapy, if he doesn't want to go for therapy, because that's something we've done, my husband and I, especially when now we've come to intense fellowship and we're complete at loggerheads, we need a third party to sort of help us see where we're going wrong. But it boils down to, are you both willing to work it out? Because there could also be one person is not willing to work it out, but they're also not strong enough to say, I don't want to stay in this relationship. So that decision does not fall on whichever party it is. So they may continue to aggravate you so that it becomes, well, you're the one who decided to leave. So the bottom line is, are you both willing to work at the relationship?
Yeah, and now after being married for 20, and I know she's not talking about your husband.
No, she's not. She's not.
No,
It was hypothetical, girl.
Yeah,
I know.
we're talking to the audience.
It's the audience talking to you, girl.
Yeah, and you've been married for 23 years.
Yeah.
So has your perspective on love evolved throughout the marriage?
Girl,
How
yes.
so, and what do you attribute to that?
I think, So it's several stages. So first there was the coming of together of both of us. Yes, he needed to look good. He needed to give me the butterflies. I can't eat it all. Listen, we're not even going to sit here and pretend and just say, no, you need to feel that. There needs to be a form of attraction, not a strong attraction. I mean, that needs to happen. So there was that. But then there was, again, going back to my dad, I remember my dad, let me give a quick story. My sister was dating some guy many, many years ago, and he comes from a very, very well-off family. And my dad sat us down, and he told us, that was a thing we used to do. So he had come to visit in the States. My uncles get married. He sat us down in the bedroom. And so as we're on the floor, he sit on the bed, which is what we used to do with my mom. My mom had passed away, so he came for my uncle's wedding. And as we're sitting there, this is what he told her. Well, I hear you're dating. And again, we're very honest. So she had told my dad who she's dating. And dad tells her, it's good that you're dating this guy, but I do want to tell you something about men who come from, it could be wrong, but this is what he told us, and it's our truth anyway. Men who come from really, really well-off families tend to have girls on their side that they're playing. They look for good wives. They keep their wives at home, but they'll continue with their wayward ways. And so you decide what you want, but I'm telling you what men typically do. Oh, and then he also said, and they will bring diseases at home.
Oh gosh. I mean, but there's some sort of truth to that. I mean, I would hear that advice. If that was my dad, I'd be like that.
Right, yes, you're right. Can I tell you, me, when he said that, like, I took it like it was me. And so those are the conversations we'll have.
He's a broke person.
Huh? No.
So he will never go anywhere.
So no,
But they're gonna get money.
You alluded to it, and you know what you said. Remember, you said this, which is now what I was saying. So when I married a guy, I wanted a guy who not necessarily has a lot of money, but a guy who I know can make money, has a vision, and can make that money. And if he loses it, he will figure out how to do it. Both of us. By the way, also, I don't put it on him. As Roseanne, both of us, how can we do that? But if he can do that, I remember I was talking about it's what I call just being at peace and being detached. When you're in that frame, it's almost like the things you want just happen to you. So for me, when my dad now told us that, he then told us, me and your mom had only a mattress. That's how we started, and we built our lives from that. And I remember saying, because my husband and I met in college, so we're also very young, just like you. We met in college, and I was just like, for me, it was so, I was like, just might say they built from nothing. We're going to build from nothing. And that's the mindset that I had. So has it changed over the years? Yes, it changes by the different seasons. Then when you have kids, that was hard. By the way, girl, I know she's only 9. It gets even harder as they grow.
Oh, damn.
There's a stage where, especially if you're very independent and you career driven, we talked about that earlier. Yes, sort of trying to think, what do you want? Because for me, I had to make the decision. I stayed home for some years to take care of the kids. And in that season, I remember thinking, oh my God, I'm losing a lot. But I had to change that mindset to say, no, I decided to stay home. I had to switch so that I'm not also waddling in the two thoughts while I am at home. How is it hard? So you can see someone who's growing in his career. You've decided to stay back home. You're going to have to make, those are now the hard decisions. And did I make the right decision? Much later, because now my girls are now in college. When I look back, I'm grateful I made that decision, because I want to believe we've done the best that we can. And you know what? No, we did the best that we can, because now they've gone. It's up to them now to create their own life. You truly do make the best that you can. And the goal is to, in terms of, let me go back. How has it changed as you age? So it changes with the seasons. And you know how they talk about, I think you would attest to this, there's seasons in marriages. They said like the 7-year each, the CG what age. We didn't get it 7. We got it at, I think, year 18 and 2023. That's when for us, those were the 2 seasons when there was just some serious loggerheads. So it does change. But what brings us back together? It's the commitment. Are you committed in this marriage? And the other thing is, as we just want to be happy. We just want to be happy. Like, why we live in life? It's not that serious. Yeah. It's not that serious.
Wow. I think if I cover that, I want to hear from the ladies who've been in long-term relationships so that we can prep. Although I know each script is different. Yeah. But I think it's reassuring to hear that you can get an each after 18 years. Because I feel like after like 13, you're like, all right, we're stuck together. So if you mean at 18 and 2023 was almost 20 years, let's say. You can still, it's still any time could be the end time.
Yes.
Is what you're trying to say.
Yes, yeah.
But then it's like you have to keep choosing
Yes.
this relationship. Yeah.
Which is what I like what she says. You must be committed to staying in it, even if it's hard. Because can you leave in a heartbeat? Guy. With the clothes on my back. It's true, because we've all had those for like many chosha. Many chosha. But you say, now if I leave, for me it should be like, nah, start again with another person. Can I but you must be committed.
And you'll find the same problems.
But you must be committed. In my mind, I must be committed despite what's happening. This is my person. My dad used to make a joke. My dad also used to, but he says, my dad used to tell us, me, I didn't choose him. You're the one who went to bring him. He's your choice. So whatever, so you should be hey, remember, when you went, you're the one who went and found this person. You're the one who brought him. I don't know him. I know him, we brought him. Yeah. So he's my person. So first, he's my person. I made the choice. And I'm committed to making it work. And it's not an easy, because I think leaving is an easy solution. I think also there's that thing about yourself. What are the non-negotiables? I think we're talking about what are the non-negotiables? What's the line that if you cross, I love you, I really do. But you can't, and having those conversations early, for my non-negotiables are this, and it's different for different people. Infidelity could be one.
Yes.
Because people who've stayed in relationships and have wonderful relationships and there's been infidelity and they've dealt with their issues, they're those people. So it is possible to cross over an infidelity, but you have to have your own non-negotiables. I want to be respected. I want to be loved. I want you to respect my family, my friends. There are many things you can come up with, but it can't be, you are dreaming and he thought about it, osmosis, because you sleep in the same bed. You must have had that conversation for these are the things that are important to me, as there are things that are important to you.
Have there been moments in your marriages where you're like, well, I don't know if you'll be open enough or raw enough to say this, but where you're like, I don't know if I'll get through this, like together with this person. But now you're here on this side. You know what I mean? Have you been, because I've been in this situation or in this relationship I'm mentioning where I was just like, I don't know if we're going to make another Valentine's Day or another, like, that state of mind. I'm like, this might be the last celebration we're having of this. Now in a marriage, have you ever gotten to that place where you're like, oh my gosh, this might be it, but then you still chose each other and are still here? Or it's once you think that that's it?
No, I think there have been. Can I remember an example? Another thing you find with marriage is that when you forgive, you forget, and you leave. Because if you carry, you can carry. You can really carry. And I told you, I made a joke, and I'll tell this story because a lot of people know it, how I was angry about something that happened and I'd kept a memento of the moment where we'd had an intense fellowship. Yes. And I'd kept this memento for years because it was for carrying. And I think
Please tell the audience what you're talking about. These guys, they need to know.
They need to know.
So my husband and I had a huge fight, and he'd be so cross that I've told this story on the internet. We had a huge fight.
It's gonna help us.
I know, right? And
you can replace it with something else.
Right? So we had an intense fight. Something broke in the fight, and I gathered the pieces or the things that I had broken and kept them as we moved houses. And it was a constant reminder of this huge fight. And if you ask me now what we're fighting about, I can't tell you. I can't tell you what we're fighting about that time. And so it was for like, he'd say something, I'd be like, look at this, like, now if it was that flower vase. See the flower vase? Like, we have flowers. We have nowhere to put them, so we broke the flower vase. And I carried this memento of anger, of carrying. And that's the thing I think for me has helped our marriage, is that don't carry. Imagine you had the fight, you did the thing, leave it, forget it, because I can't tell you. And when I finally threw and I'll use the word flower vase away, I got a new one, same day, because
somebody called you.
Somebody called me and gave me a new one. And it's we talk about God aligning things but if you carry, because that's what happens, I feel it's like a weight. You just keep adding the weight, it gets heavier and heavier. So it's harder to even wake up in the morning and be like, we're still together. So you don't even remember. So I think, yes, there are moments in any relationship where you have the opportunity to leave, but because you're committed to this, my person, I'm committed to you, I'm committed to this relationship, I love the way you make me feel. I think friendship is another thing we can talk about in terms of love, because they're your friend. You want to be happy, you want to be friends. We want to be sitting at the gig, and I look at him and he looks at me and we're like,
you have the entire
It's like you're a bad person. It's like, but you saw it. Did you see it? Did you see it? Yeah. it's like, don't sit next to me because now we'll start giggling at the gig.
Yeah.
But you want that person and you make that commitment, like no matter, as long as we respect each other. Because even me, I could be the bad person. Because I told you, my personality type is very over and over. I'm not big, loud, huge fight person, but I will nag you to high heaven. Like, did you do? I'm gonna like keep at the scab. And knowing that for him, that's a thing that he doesn't want, or he has his own list of non-negotiables. And if I respect his non-negotiables and he respects mine, imagine. And I tell people, for me, one of the lines I use is marriage is hard work. And there are bad times, but the good times are so good, they outweigh the bad times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Shall we go to the next one? I think, Avuda, this is yours.
Yeah.
Read that out for us, shall you? I mean,
It's number
can
4,
you?
right?
Will you?
What differences,
Would you?
may I? So what differences do you notice in how love is expressed and received at your current age compared to when you were younger?
I could go. As I've grown older, and I think I shared it with you ladies earlier, I started my own therapy. And what I've realized is I always say, these young people, you guys are so self-aware. And I noticed it in 2018, this girl left me, actually I had back-to-back clients. There's a lawyer, very specifically, as she walked out, she was 27 years old. It was 20-something-year-olds, a lot that I used to see in early 30s. And when she walked out, I sat back and asked myself, I don't believe I was this self-aware at this age. Because I literally went back to the notes, like for everybody. And the thing that struck me is how self-aware this young generation are. I wasn't. And I don't know about you, Kapuda, but I certainly wasn't. So how has it been different? Oh, this is when I'm becoming self-aware, girl. No, for real. And so now that I'm aware and self-aware, I am asking more of what I want. You guys are doing it, y'all doing it much younger.
Yeah.
I don't know, and I'd be curious to hear from any 40, 50-year-olds whether that's true. Or maybe I am the anomaly, I don't know. But even talking to my friends, they've actually affirmed that. The younger generation, you guys were much more self-aware. So how has it been different? Is I am asking more of what I now want. Like I speak up more because unlike you, Kavuda, I tend to I'm more of the quiet one. Like I keep things on the inside. I don't speak up. But now I'm learning to actually ask. That's the part. I'm learning to ask more. Yeah. Wow.
What about you, Esther?
For me, I feel like with our parents, it was just, upate mtu mzuri, uketi naye, you grow with them. And they never really went deep into like attributes and qualities and their marriage. Because I feel like those are things that my mom like really kept from us as we grew up. So when it came to like me growing up, and you say you're self-aware. Oh, me, I've started. Even
when you started, okay, girl.
I've arrived now. I've just arrived.
I love it.
So, if like this me was like I'd come to this myself like earlier, I'd be a bit more serious in asking myself questions like about what I really want, and what I really like. Who am I? Even how am I? Because as you said, demons come out and you just realize, oh, okay, so hata mimi sikuwa nimefika. Yeah, so I feel like for like how our parents kind of portrayed it was just, you just find a person and you mukae pamoja, and the goal was just to have a family. But I feel like right now, and even like the younger generation, because again, I feel there's a younger one.
Yes,
yeah, they are
the
very,
alphas are now popping up with their
they're very
opinions.
aware. They really know what they want in relationships. I'm starting to know now, but thank God it's not that I'm in a bad relationship that I'm realizing, oh my gosh, I need to leave. I fortunately landed on someone who, even right now when I ask myself the questions, the serious questions, I'm like, yeah, this is the right person. So young people are definitely very aware. They're asking themselves the right questions, and they are not settling for the bare minimum.
That part.
Hey, I was just happy. I'm happy for them, man. I'm happy for them because they're like, hey, this small. Hey. But and when I say small quarrels, I don't mean at the tiny disagreements at your New Balance, Nike. But like they see the red flags. I think that's what I mean. They
let's be
see
clear.
Yeah, they see the red flags as a red. They're not us who are like, hey,
Misawa.
them, they're like, that's red. I am out.
Oof.
Yeah. You know, sometimes I wonder if we're like over-informed, you know, like we are aware and over self-aware, you know, like we are splitting hairs to a sense, because there's books and movies and films and documentaries on everything.
And TikTok.
Exactly. And TikTok, University of TikTok, right? And sometimes when I look at the statistics, for example, that love marriages, they fail at 50%, whereas arranged marriages have a higher success rate, something to like 70%, 80%. It's very high. And these are people who love was not in the equation. There was nothing like, what is your attachment style and what is your love language, and it's just mom and dad think that we're going to be a good match because they understand that these are the biggest building blocks of marriage. And once you have this, everything else you need to figure out within each other. My daughter is this kind of personality. This is the kind of guy we're going to partner her with. I know nowadays in arranged marriages, they allow you to say yes or no in some cases, but at the end of the day, it's still your parents bringing you these partners because they know, you know, maybe they've come with this wealth of knowledge from generations and generations and generations, you understand? So everyone goes in knowing what they are bringing to this space. And then you have these romantic relationships with so much pressure and expectations from partnerships that it leaves me with a few question marks. But just to answer the question, what has changed? I think I've already answered it. But something that has come out as Esther Kazungu is talking is that whether is it weird people call you by your two names, Esther Kazungu?
Yeah.
Okay, Esther.
Or Kazungu.
Kazungu. Okay. Is that something for me that is very important is my love languages. I have to have a partner whose primary love language is my primary love language. Then the rest we can negotiate. Yes, I cannot survive in a relationship with very low physical touch. I'll actually shrivel and die. Well, maybe it's a learning, but I'm just saying. This is just what I've come to see.
Right.
If my number one is your number five, we're gonna struggle. My top two are physical touch and words of affirmation. I can affirm myself from time to time, but I do like the occasional, babe, that was so good. You're so smart. Look at you. So clever.
Girl.
You know?
Yes.
Hype me up. Tell me good things. Tell me I look nice. Affirm me. But if that for you is, if touching me or cuddling and watching a movie is like too much for you, because I have friends, now I have a girlfriend who is like, physical touch is like, why? And she has a child that just wants to hug her all the time. And she's like, Jules, I'm going to bring this child to you.
And you can give
Of course, that's me. Yeah. And another one is even my aunt. My aunt, bless you, her daughter now is 18. And she was like, you know, my daughter is always hugging me. And I'm just like, you know, you two, you need to hang out. Yes. And I mean, of course, they have the most beautiful mother-daughter relationship that I've ever seen. But the mom she's like, she has to, it's really like pulling teeth for her to be physically affectionate to her child.
But she has been.
Because that's your child is different.
Because of
Love.
Okay. You're right.
This is love.
This is love.
So this is love.
I just don't
So
think I
this
can do
is
it for
love.
somebody who is not my kiln or who is not my child. I don't know if I could do it I could adjust that much too.
I think you'd be surprised how much you change in marriage.
Because we're not, as human beings, we do change. Yeah. We're not constant. So in fact, as soon as you said that, I paused a little bit for you and I got a little nervous for you because we talked a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
It's these things that the lists that we put, the non-negotiables, you know, when you say that, and if you don't mind me saying this.
Go ahead.
What if a guy is giving you everything that you need the financial security, you need he has everything else. He's a good guy.
I haven't met that yet. I think maybe when that happens, then I'll be able to understand if I can compromise. I won't sit here and say, that's it, and you're gone. One box you haven't ticked, that's
Right.
a top for me,
Right.
done.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
I also understand the 80-20s
Okay.
rule. Okay, again, another thing. But like I'm
hear you.
also open to be like,
Yes.
Okay. As long as you're
but you
open.
understand, I'm also an accumulation or agglomeration of
I
my,
hear you.
know
I
that
hear
one?
you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yes, I knew that one, that
Of
one,
all
that
my
one.
experiences. And what my experiences have taught me is that, sweetheart, if no one is going to kiss you and hug you when you walk into that house, you're going to be unhappy. So that's just where I'm at.
Okay, can I? Okay, so that was my parents. Kissing, in fact, as soon as they walked in, they were huggers.
Maybe we can use a love language that you like. So then it's not so hard for you to
because that's what I wanted. My husband couldn't give me that in the beginning. Like for him in the beginning, he was not a touchy-feely kind of guy. But your love languages are exactly mine. Touch and words of affirmation. In the beginning, I remember actually, we hadn't even talked about it, but I was expecting him because that's what had been modeled to me. When you walk in, like, because that's what my mom
just
used
a hug,
to do.
baby. How's
And
your
she used
day?
to hug and they'd kiss each other. Like, that's what we grew up seeing. So I always give this story. I'm home. Kamal walks in. He has come. He is tired. He's exhausted. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, oh, you're home. And he walks in and he was exhausted. He was tired from work. And I remember thinking, he hugged me, but not what I was expecting. And so we had to have that conversation. And so that's when I said, by the way, this is how my parents used to be. So after everyone is calmed down and we're chilling, I felt what? Rejected. He didn't know that. I needed to explain to him. And so now he understood. Oh, okay. And so it took him, he had to work it because he wasn't that kind of guy. So he has to work on physical touch.
but then is it annoying for him? Like, does he feel like, I gotta do this?
No, he doesn't
Okay.
take it that way. He's also very driven in terms of, that's what you want? Okay, let's see. I'll try to give it to you. He may forget every so often, but he tries. Yeah.
Okay, bless him.
So my whole point is, Jules, do not, those lists.
Yeah.
Because you never know what God has in place for you. And I'm telling you, he's the most beautiful, everything, but he may not have 100% of everything that you want, but he's going to make you even more happier.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm open to that.
Good. I like that. She's open.
All right. Esther, can I go back to you? Oh, you have something to say? You feel like something
to
is at the
add.
tip of your
Yeah,
tongue.
because I feel like just what she was saying. If that person loves you, they will go out of their way to give you, like to
give you
express
what you
love to you the way you want to receive it. Yeah, so it's not
vice
a
versa.
yeah.
But
Vice
maybe I have a
versa.
self-limiting belief around that
Yeah.
because I think that saying if somebody loves you, they'll do it. But I'm like, eventually the pumsi will run out.
It never does.
Like they are because it's not
Their
their thing.
motivation.
Their motivation.
But
will just run out.
their motivation is love.
Yeah.
But even after like 18 years, they're still
Even
gonna
after
have
50.
Yeah.
Even after 50.
Yes, Jules.
If that person genuinely loves you
Yeah.
and realizes that this is such a big deal for you, they will do it.
They will.
So screw the list.
And you
No, for real. Jules, drop it. Yeah. I'm not kidding you. Screw that list.
I don't know, but
Yeah.
okay. Now I can maybe my head is turning a little bit. I'm like,
Good. I like that little turn.
Yeah.
Because an aeroplane, when it's going, if it veers off 1 degree, it lands in a completely different direction. So I like that 1 degree turn.
yeah,
You're
plus
good.
you'll be able to tell if that person will not keep it up.
Right.
Yeah,
You'll
you'll
tell,
see the
you'll know.
signs.
Mm.
That if they're doing it now because atakanipende.
my future person out there, you gotta touch me, you gotta love on me, and kiss me, and tell me I'm so dope. I'm a dope babe.
And if you're not doing it, what's that? And you have everything else you need that God has played. This is your girl. You're gonna work on it, and she gonna get it because you love her.
Start working on it now.
Okay, Esther, can you read for us this second last question?
Yeah.
We're about to wrap this up.
Yes.
Okay, for you, what role do friendships and platonic relationships play in your understanding of love at this stage of life?
I know when we were having a discussion about these questions before we started to record, this was a bit of a challenging one for you. So do you want to kick us off?
No.
She's like, no.
It's like, do it again.
Yeah.
Let's go round.
Okay.
What role do friendship? I think understanding of love. I think I talked about at the beginning that love, there is a love in platonic friends. There is that place for love. And you can't base your entire story of love on the person that you're married to. And I think a lot of times women, when we get married, we become so engrossed. We wear these blinders. We only see this one person that we begin to let our girlfriends go, our boyfriends loosely. That those relationships also play a role in filling your cup so that you can fill the cup of the person that you love.
What do you think how important is friendship in a long-term relationship? Because I don't know if I want my person to be my bestie. Like, I want to still have my bestie. I want them to know me and we like love the same things, but like I don't want to. There's just some stuff that I'm just like, this is my stuff with my girls.
Yeah.
But then I see like there's so much pressure for people to be like, I married my best friend. And I've never felt, I'm always like, why would you marry your best friend? Why would you do? I wouldn't want to marry Edith.
Yeah.
Because we will be destructive. Like she represents a side of me that I'm just like, okay, we have limits.
Yeah, but you see that your best friend, I think you can have more than one best friend. Maybe think of it that way.
Okay.
Like you have multiple best friends. Like in my life now, I have many best friends. My husband is my best friend because there's a relationship we have and we're growing in, and there are things I tell him that I probably can't tell my girlfriend.
True.
And then there are things that I need to tell my girlfriend that I shouldn't tell my husband, but I need to tell him because there's a place of honesty. Like you never want to hear that we went and robbed a bank with my girlfriend, and then when you call it, hey babe, to committee, you want to know. So, but I feel like also your girl best friends are we're not singular units. We're like a tree. We have many arms, and this arm needs my girlfriends that we laugh with when we have tea. There's this friend that we go bowling with. There's this. So I feel like, and then there's, because we are foundation. My person is my foundation. We're together. He's almost like he's helping me stand, but I still need to. He's an anchor. I love that word. He's an anchor, but I need some nourishment on this side because there's some jokes that will crack with your girlfriends, and your husband is like, "That was funny." That was funny. Yeah. That was funny. He doesn't get it.
So friendship is is an integral ingredient in a long
you
term.
must cultivate them, and I think we do that as women because we get into this. We get into this. Oh my girls, but I don't have time. You have to go home and cook for my husband. Oh, I can't do this. Nowadays it's for like, hey, I'm out. I'm going to see my two girls, we're going to laugh and have tea, and I'll come home at 11:30 or 12. But he knows where I am. He knows that I'm safe. My anchor is still there. But he knows I need those moments of laughter with my guy friends that we work with. And he knows that there's no threat of our relationship, but I need those. And then they tell you stories and they're encouraging you. And sometimes you're having a moment and you hear them like, oh, it's not only me who my person leaves his socks on the floor. It's never that serious because you need those. And I feel like you must cultivate those multiple relationships because otherwise it is true. You will drive that person crazy. And I think we found out during COVID how important those other relationships were. And I think I told a story earlier about, there was a joke about these two people who were stuck together during COVID. And then he realized his wife didn't do the dishes. Like she never did the dishes. She never cleaned up. He's like, where?
Yeah, because there was a nanny.
Yeah, there was the nanny. The girl came all the time. So his house was immaculate. And then they were left the two of them and they were like, hey, me, I don't pick clothes. You don't pick clothes. Our house is a nightmare. And then you're like, oh, we need to rediscover this living together. And I think that COVID lockdown period was great for that relationship building, for realizing also there is a place for these other shoots in my relationship.
Wow. Also 11:30, that's so cute.
11:30. Because we drink dawa. 2 a.m. 4 a.m. I was being kind. Yeah, I was being kind for like, it's night.
Yeah. What about you, Roseanne? Like in a long-term relationship, what has it played a role as now you've transitioned from early motherhood to now your kids are in their 20s? What does that look like?
So it's transition for sure. And one of the things that we're very intentional on was having friends, especially see that age where her kids are 9, you have a 9-month-old, yeah? We got couples who are similar values and we used to do life together. So that's something I've always done from way, way back. Community and friendships is also, that's a core value of mine, like having friendships. And so using that, we got 4 couple friends. So we lived in Boston and our kids were all the same age. So we raised our kids together. And what we used to do, we used to rotate in each other's homes every single month because we realized raising children is hard. Yeah. It is hard. I mean, it is, let no one lie to you.
Especially in the US.
Especially in the US when you have no help. It is really hard. So that was really important. But we're not just meeting to meet. It was very intentional. We would either go for, take them to the park, rent a house and we all go. We'd all cook, like just do games together. And so even when we moved back to Kenya, which is now 10 years ago, Same thing. God connected us to 2 different groups. We're a part of couples. Again, 5 and 5. So there must be something about the number 5, by the way. And there's one group, which is an older group. And that's the one earlier we're talking about. And they were telling us, you guys have to be friends because your kids are going to be living and you need to be friends. Cultivate that friendship now. So for me, these relationships do play a huge role because like Kavi has said, the biggest thing is understanding, number 1, that we all go through issues. You don't want to do life alone. So it's so important to plug in with people who have similar values, where you truly are sharing your issues and they're listening and they're like, oh my God. In fact, one of my best friends came the other day. She's in New York and she came to visit and she's like, so Roseanne, you're still very, because I'm very justice driven. And so I fight for, okay, we're not going to go political, but those are the things I fight for. And so she mentioned it to me and I said, was I always that way? Self-aware. I wasn't aware. She's like, but Roseanne, gosh, those are the things you talk about all the time. So my point is getting people where you're sharing issues, life's issues, because you also don't know everything. And so you're going to you see how we're sharing all this, our perspectives are so different, but I'm so learning from each and every one of you. That's so important. And please plug in. And also remember, our culture as Africans, we're very community driven. We're community society. We're not nuclear. For us, it was all about the society, the community. And I'd love if we could go back to that. Yes, I know there's dysfunctions and whatnot, but there was something beautiful when we bring our communities together and you're getting to hear from the old and the new. For me, one of the things that I do, by the way, one of my prayers today was, I want to learn from these ladies when I hear, because I know I'll hear from her perspective, I'll hear from your perspective, because everyone is teaching you. By the way, even the guy standing here, no, it's true. Everyone has a lesson if you stay open. Remember we talked about love?
Yeah.
And you're talking about if you look at the flowers and you give the analogy of a flower pot, there's truly love everywhere, but you have to have that orientation. So platonic relationships for me are super important. Like you cannot just be your dude man.
Correct. Yeah, correct.
You can't be just him. Yeah.
And Esther Kazungu, you know, your relationship with your hubby, I follow you online. First of all, I followed you before you got married. She is hilarious.
That's very funny.
Hilarious. And you know most comedians, when you meet them live,
And she's so chill.
This girl is funny. I'm howling in my
I'm
house
shy.
over her TikTok.
Really?
And then you got married, got a baby, but also your husband has the same kind of humor, lighthearted energy as you, big bright smile he has. And the way I see you guys online, you're like besties, for real. Like you and the both of you, and then like you're doing the dances in front of your baby. And I think I just love the energy in your relationship. So what role does friendship play? And at what point, if you don't mind my asking, because we are talking about love, at what point does eroticism enter the room? Like, ooh, you're looking cute tonight. Like, is it weird to transition from one stage to the next?
Why? Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh, guys, I'm baby.
Baby girl.
A baby with a baby. Anyway, so for us, I think we were friends we started with friendship by the way. We were when we met, we were just friends. He keeps joking at Tia. You never used to say hi to him. He's like, it's obviously lying. So they used to be in a dance group. And of course, there were the cool guys who break dance kabisa, and then there was the people who just dance. Yeah. I think I categorized him up the people who just dance. So we developed a friendship, and then we were talking on Facebook. He had traveled to India because his mom needed an operation, and he said that I was the only person who kept tabs when he traveled. So that's how the friendship came about. And then he used to try and hook me up with other people. Okay, not many other people, but he was trying to say, hey, unaweza endana na nani. But even me on the inside, I knew I liked this guy, but again, I was not self-aware, so I was thinking, am I sure I like this guy? Because he's not fitting the bill when it comes to these things I've written down.
Those damn lists.
Yeah, those damn lists. Yeah, so I kept ignoring that, but eventually we now started dating. So you see, for us, it was the friendship first, and that has gone on throughout in the marriage, in whatever. But now, sister, that other question you asked, I don't know, how to explain it. See, it just happens. Like our parents. You've never seen them kiss, but boom.
Yeah.
We which is I don't know. I feel like somehow our friendship has a part to play in that, because now we joke around about everything. So even that, it just inaanza tu jokes, and then we now ease into that.
Inaanza jokes.
Jokes. Then all of us
And let me just say about the list. I'm not gonna trash all the lists.
No.
I think we have to remember that everybody is on their very individual journey. Because my sister-in-law, well, I do believe her, because she wrote a list. She has a list that ended up being my brother. And she's very religious and very attuned to her spirituality. And she was like, this is the man I prayed for. Dark, big, beautiful teeth, nice smiley. And every time we are out and she's just like, gleaming at my brother, she looks at me, she's like, I prayed for this guy. So I think it's okay to have your list, but if something inside you is telling you to let go of it, also heed to that. But you also have to know what that voice is. Yes. Cindy, you need to be able to distinguish what is just trash from another writer, or maybe a piece of advice that is not relevant to your life, or something that you need to take on.
Yeah, I think spirituality is something we haven't discussed about that type of love. And everybody has the God they pray to. But I feel faith is such a huge factor in love. Because if you're not sensitive, like you said, to for us, we'd say the Holy Spirit, for like, apana. And anytime that I've not listened to and people call it gut, that I haven't listened to the Holy Spirit about something, then I found myself in hot soup. Yeah. And I think it plays a role also in the relationship and in love. Yeah.
I love that. So I think we just need to learn how to listen. Or exercise the muscle of listening. Of listening. Like, you know that this is the voice of the Holy Spirit, the voice of God versus the clutter.
Correct.
Isn't it?
Correct.
And now to our final question. This one, I think I want to keep it brief. I think it's one of those things that in retrospect has so much value.
Correct.
But in the time that it's there, you're just like, yeah. It's almost like that piece of advice that you ignored from your mother. When you are young, you're like, these people are old generation, they don't know anything. Then you get married, you're like, oh, kumbe. I'm going to ask this one. If you could give one piece of advice to your younger self about love, what would it be and why? Anyone ready? I'm going to throw it to the floor.
No, we're all acting like we're thinking about it for the first time, but we had seen
all
these
the question.
Yeah, we had seen the question. We had an answer. Do we like that answer anymore?
But like who reads questions and doesn't think about them?
No, that's me.
Really?
That's me.
I really like to make, but it's very risky.
It is.
There are times it works perfectly. There are times it just doesn't work.
Like now, because I truly didn't have an answer.
Yeah.
There's nothing you tell your younger self.
I think it's okay. There is.
Yes.
And it would be, because that's the stage I'm in, which is what I'm sharing, just become more aware of who you are.
Yeah.
Be aware. So work on yourself, be self-aware, seek therapy, seek counsel from wiser. Not necessarily that someone is older, that they have the wise counsel, but you will know when it's wise counsel, because that inner gut, the Holy Spirit, will guide you to know what it is. So seek that inner wisdom and just become aware. That's what I'd say. Be aware. Be aware.
I was reacting because she said all of my answers.
Yeah.
Like in that order. Yeah, because I was going to say, just relax, calm down, Savannah, calm down, get to know yourself.
Did you say Savannah?
Yeah.
That's your name?
No, it's a TikTok sound.
Oh, look at us. I was like, calm down, Savannah. I took a break from TikTok though. Because
I'm going to send it to you.
Send it to us because we don't know Savannah.
Anyway.
Okay,
but Savannah's got to calm down. So all of us does she think I'm Savannah?
Anyway, I tell myself to calm down because I feel like when I was younger, I just wanted to jump into a relationship. Like, let's go. Get married, all those things. Zikuje tu haraka by 30. That thing we used to say. But I tell myself to take time to know myself, go for therapy, and in that order to vizuri, because therapy has really helped me a lot in becoming self-aware and knowing what I want exactly. And yeah, hakuna haraka.
There's no
honestly, really, there's no rush.
what would I tell my younger self? Really, I don't know. There's so many things I could tell myself. But I think maybe the biggest one is love myself. I think there's also that space for self-awareness, self-love, putting myself first in love spaces, and finding things that bring me joy and bring me love. And then also not be afraid to say love. In fact, I was sitting here, I remembered, I was with my nephew the other day and I dropped him and he got out of the car. He's 10. And as he ran out, he told me, I love you. And he closed the door and he left. And I remember thinking, he loves me. But it was so genuine that for him, love that he'd been with me, we'd hang out and he loved me.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, that's so pure. That's so, and so for me, that's the thing I'll tell myself is love, just love, cover that just love. Whether it's responded to or not, just love. And I think there'll be so much joy in that.
I love that. What would I tell my younger self? I know if I went to my younger self and I told her what I know now, she'd just be like, cool story, bro. And she will not heed the advice because I feel like I needed to go through everything. And I'm not even there yet. I'm not married. I don't have children. Not that it's the aspiration, but it is an aspiration for me. So I think what I would say is, first of all, buckle up because it's going to be one hell of a ride. You are going to constantly look for love outside. And as cliche as it sounds, you need to be settled within yourself. Figure out how to do that without having to go through all that. If you can, that's what I would tell her. It's possible to be happy by yourself for long extended periods of time without faking it, like single and happy hashtag. No, it's like for real, you'll be okay. You can be okay. So figure out what that looks like. Get love from other places outside of a man or a relationship, from friendships, from work, from giving, like volunteering, serving. That's what I mean. Find a way for that to nourish you and let go of this obsession of finding the right person and living in the perfect house, the perfect dog, and the perfect picket fence. Like I had such delusions. My gosh. So I think I would just tell her to focus on that, but also that you need to go through some stuff. It's gonna hurt. And you need to go through that. And at the end of the day, self-love is the best kind of love.
It is.
It's the top one. Well, love of God and then everything else.
Yes.
But yes,
Yeah.
you understand what I mean?
We totally get you.
And that brings us to the end of this beautiful discussion.
Yay.
I am
Yay.
so happy to have been surrounded by you ladies. I'm even tempted to we're gonna do a thing. Like once a month, I call a bunch of women and we just talk about things from different vantage points. And we drink dawa. Go home by 11:30. And we
My
just
bedtime is 10.
nourish ourselves from our different vantage points,
Yeah.
I think this brings us to the end. Since this is not my podcast or my show, I'm going to say thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
I'll see you guys next time. Ciao.
Bye.
Bye.